The afternoon sun slanted through the lace curtains of the old Victorian, painting stripes across the Persian rug that had once belonged to my late husband. I sat in his favorite armchair, the one with the cracked leather armrests, clutching a cup of chamomile that had long gone cold. My fingers trembled as I stared at the front door, knowing what was coming. When the doorbell rang, I didn't move. 3 sharp chimes, then silence. Through the peephole, I saw my son Daniel, 32 years old, still wearing that same navy peacoat from college, standing beside his wife, Claire, and a man I didn't recognize. The stranger carried a small black bag, the kind plumbers use, but something about his posture felt wrong. I opened the door a crack. "Daniel, Mum." His voice carried that practiced patience he'd perfected since Dad died. "We need to talk about the house. 5 years. 5 years since the funeral, since I'd stood in this same doorway watching his casket disappear into the ground. 5 years of me rattling around these 12 rooms alone, keeping Dad's memory alive in every photograph, every chipped teacup, every creaking floorboard." "What house?" I asked, though I knew exactly what he meant. "This is my home," Daniel sighed. Claire touched his arm, a gesture that once might have been comforting, but now felt rehearsed. The stranger shifted his weight. "Mom, you're 78, Daniel said. "The stairs, the maintenance. It's too much. We found a nice assisted living community." "No." The word came out sharper than I intended. "Your father built this house with his own hands. Every nail, every beam. You think I'd trade that for fluorescent lights and scheduled bingo?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "Dad's been gone 5 years, Mom. What house are you even demanding to keep?" The question hit like a slap. I felt heat rising in my cheeks, the same heat that used to flood me when he'd come home with C's on his report card. Before I could stop myself, the words tore out. "It's been 5 years since your father died. What house are you demanding I abandon?" The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. Claire's eyes widened. The stranger cleared his throat. Daniel recovered first. "We're not abandoning anything. We're being practical. But first," he nodded toward the man with the bag, "we're changing the locks. Claire will explain the paperwork after." The locksmith knelt, already pulling tools from his bag. Metal clinked against metal. My heart hammered against my ribs like it might break free. That's when I heard it, a cough. Not from Daniel or Claire or the locksmith. From behind them. A wet, deliberate sound that made the hairs on my arms stand up. The cough came again, closer this time. The locksmith froze, screwdriver hovering mid-air. Claire whipped around so fast her ponytail slapped Daniel's cheek. My son's face drained of color, the way it used to when he was 8, and swore he'd seen Dad's ghost in the attic. "Who's there?" Daniel called, voice cracking like a teenager's. No answer. Just the wind rattling the maple tree Dad planted the year Daniel was born. Its leaves, turning early this year, scraped against the siding like fingernails. I stepped forward, past the threshold for the first time since they'd arrived. The porch boards groaned under my weight, familiar, comforting. From this angle, I could see the full length of the driveway, the hydrangeas Dad had babied through 3 droughts, the rusted mailbox shaped like a barn that Daniel used to love. Empty. No one there. But the cough had been real. I'd felt it in my bones, the way you feel thunder before you hear it. "Probably Mrs. Henderson's cat," Claire said, too quickly. "You know how it gets in the bushes." Mrs. Henderson's cat had been dead for 2 years. I didn't say this. Instead, I watched the locksmith. His hands shook as he tried to fit the new cylinder into my front door, Dad's door, with the brass knocker shaped like a lion's head. "Leave it," I told him. He looked at Daniel, not me. Daniel nodded curtly, and the man packed up his tools with the speed of someone fleeing a fire. Claire produced a manila folder from her purse, thick, official-looking. She thrust it toward me like a peace offering. "Mum, just look at the numbers. The property taxes alone, I know the numbers. I took the folder but didn't open it. I know every penny your father sank into this place. I know how he worked double shifts at the mill so we could add the sunroom. I know he died in that hospital bed still, worrying about the roof leak over the kitchen. Daniel flinched. Good. The cough came a third time from inside the house now. Behind me. I turned slowly, the folder crinkling in my grip. The foyer stretched long and dim, afternoon light pooling on the grandfather clock that hadn't worked since Dad's stroke. Its hands frozen at 3:17, the exact minute he'd flatlined. Nothing moved, but the air felt different. Thicker. Like someone had just exhaled. Daniel, I said quietly, did you bring the spare key? He hesitated. What spare key? The one your father kept in the lion's mouth. I pointed to the knocker. You used to hide there when we played sardines. Claire laughed nervously. That was 25 years ago. But Daniel's eyes flicked to the knocker, then away. Guilty. The locksmith had vanished down the driveway, his van kicking up gravel like buckshot. Claire kept glancing at her phone, thumbs hovering but never typing. Daniel stood with his arms crossed, trying to look authoritative in a coat 2 sizes too big for the boy he used to be. I stepped back inside, letting the screen door slap shut behind me. The folder of paperwork I left on the hall table, next to Dad's old pipe rack. The scent of cherry tobacco still lingered there, faint but stubborn like grief. Mum, we're not done, Daniel started. The cough cut him off. Louder now, wet and ragged, coming from the living room. I moved toward it without thinking, my slippers whispering over the hardwood Dad had sanded by hand. The room looked exactly as I'd left it. His recliner angled toward the fireplace. The Afghan mom crocheted draped over the arm. The photo of our 1987 camping trip where Daniel lost his first tooth to a s'more. That the recliner was rocking. Gently, like someone had just stood up. The Afghan shifted, one corner slipping to the floor. I froze in the doorway, heart punching against my sternum. Daniel, I called, surprised at how steady my voice sounded. Come here. He appeared behind me, Claire trailing like a shadow. The rocking stopped the moment they entered. The Afghan lay still, but the air felt occupied. Claire's voice was barely a whisper. Did you see? The cough again. From upstairs this time. The exact spot where Dad's hospital bed had been, right above us. Floorboards creaked in that familiar pattern. 2 steps, pause, 2 steps. The same rhythm he'd used pacing while waiting for test results. Daniel's face went the color of old parchment. This isn't funny, Mom. I'm not laughing. Claire clutched her purse to her chest. We should go. We can come back with. No. I turned to them, really looked at them for the first time. Claire's perfect highlights. Daniel's new watch that cost more than Dad made in a month. You want this house? Earn it, spend one night. Just one. Then tell me it's too much for me. Daniel opened his mouth, closed it. The creaking stopped. Silence pressed in, heavy as wet wool. From the top of the stairs came a voice, not Dad's, but close enough to make my knees buckle. Gravelly, familiar, laced with that Milltown accent he'd never lost. 5 years, Margaret. What house are they demanding now? I climbed the stairs slowly, each step a memory. The third one squeaked always had. Dad promised to fix it for 20 years. The banister still bore the nick from when Daniel tried to slide down at age 6 and took a chunk of wood with him. My hand found the groove automatically, like muscle memory. Daniel and Claire followed at a distance, their footsteps hesitant. The attic door stood ajar, a slice of darkness spilling onto the landing. Dad's recorder sat on his old desk, the one he'd built from scrap pine, its red light blinking steadily. The same recorder he'd used to capture birdsongs for his nature journal. The same one I'd found running the morning after his funeral, tape spinning though no one had touched it. I pushed the door open. Dust motes danced in the single bulb's glow. The room smelled of old paper and the cedar balls Dad used to keep moths away. His journals were stacked neatly, labeled in his careful engineer's print. 2015 to 2016, 2016 to 2017, up to 2020, the year he got sick. The recorder clicked off as we entered. Silence rushed in to fill the space. Claire found her voice first. Motion sensor? Daniel picked up the recorder like it might bite him. The tape inside was labeled in Dad's handwriting. Margaret, play if they come for the house. My throat closed. I took it from him, fingers brushing the warm plastic. The play button stuck. Slightly, Dad's arthritis had made everything harder toward the end. The tape whirred. Dad's voice filled the attic, thin but unmistakable. If you're hearing this, Margaret, then the vultures have circled. Daniel always wanted what he couldn't earn. Tell him the house isn't his to take. Tell him about the safe. The recording cut to static. Claire gasped. Daniel's face crumpled, not with grief, but something uglier. Calculation. What safe? He demanded. I knew. Behind the false panel in Dad's closet, where he'd kept the deeds, the savings bonds, the letter he'd written the week before the stroke. The letter I'd never had the courage to read. Downstairs, the front door creaked open on its own. The locksmith's van was long gone, but fresh footprints tracked mud across the foyer, size 11. Gad size. They stopped at the hall table, right where I'd left Claire's folder. The top page was missing. Daniel started for the stairs, but I blocked him. One night, I repeated. Stay till morning. Then we'll talk about what's yours. Outside, the maple tree scratched at the window like it wanted in. The recorder clicked back on by itself. Dad's voice, fainter now. They'll try the back door next, Margaret. Lock it. And whatever you do, don't let them find the second tape. The house settled around us like a living thing. Floorboards sighing, pipes knocking in their familiar Morse code. I herded Daniel and Claire into the kitchen, Dad's domain, with its ancient gas stove and the chalkboard where he'd written grocery lists in block letters. The back door stood open 3 inches, though I'd locked it myself that morning. Daniel reached for it. I caught his wrist. Wait. Moonlight spilled across the linoleum, illuminating a single muddy footprint pointing inward. Size 11. Fresh. Claire's breath hitched. We should call someone. Who? I asked. The police? Tell them my dead husband's leaving footprints? I released Daniel and crossed to the door, peering out at the backyard. The hydrangeas swayed, though there was no wind. Something moved between them, tall, stooped, wearing Dad's old flannel shirt. It turned. For a heartbeat, I saw his face gaunt, eyes sunken, but unmistakably him. Then it vanished into the shadows. Daniel saw it too. He made a sound like a wounded animal. I shut the door and threw the deadbolt. The click echoed. From the walls came a low hum, the same frequency as the recorder upstairs. Words emerged. Distorted but clear enough. Second tape. Basement, hurry. The basement door was in the pantry, hidden behind the shelves of home-canned peaches. Dad had put up the summer before he got sick. I hadn't opened it since the funeral. Claire backed away. This is insane. We're leaving. You wanted the house, I said. Face it. Daniel's bravado had cracked completely. He kept glancing at the ceiling, as if expecting Dad to drop through it. Mom, please. Whatever this is your inheritance. I pulled the pantry shelves aside, revealing the narrow door. The knob was cold, slick with condensation that hadn't been there before. One night. Then you decide if you still want it. The hum grew louder, vibrating in my teeth. I opened the door. Stairs descended into blackness, the air below thick with the smell of damp earth and something metallic. Blood? No ozone. Like after lightning. Halfway down, a red light blinked. Another recorder, this one duct taped to the support beam. Its tape spun furiously. Dad's voice, urgent now. Margaret, if they've come this far, show them the deed. The real one. Not the forgery Daniel's wife brought. Claire went rigid. Daniel wouldn't meet my eyes. I reached the bottom. In the corner sat Dad's old army footlocker. Padlock intact. The combination was Daniel's birthday backwards. I spun the dial. Inside. The original house deed, dated 1978, and a cassette labeled Final. As I lifted it, every light in the house went out.